afternoon. Michael Malice here, and let that be your welcome for the next hour. I am pleased as punch today because we have Zach Amico with us today. Let me tell you guys who Zach is. You have how many podcasts? You have 3?
2 here.
Just 2.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
you co-host Real Ass Podcast with Louis J. Gomez.
Yes.
And you have your
Zach Amico's Midnight Spook Show.
Midnight Spook Show, where you watch B-movies with jackasses such as myself. It's kind of like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
And just yap through them. Sometimes do not acknowledge the movie for the entire episode.
Is that true?
Yeah. It's like when you put on a movie with friends. Sometimes you watch it.
Friendship
Sometimes
Simulator.
You don't. Yeah.
I'm not I'm a very big introvert, and I'm also a big snob. So it's very rare when I meet someone that I am interested in speaking with them further. And
I appreciate that very much, buddy.
Well, I mean,
you didn't say that was me.
Yeah, now you're putting words in my mouth. Now you're putting words in my mouth. Okay. I mean, we're just here because Big J was busy. I was so impressed when I met you for several reasons. One is we had Skankfest. And am I allowed to say the writing stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. You wrote Shannon's material, and it was amazing when she roasted Harrington. And Louis has said that Shannon is the least funny person that he has ever met in his life. And I don't know that that's accurate, but you killed it. It was amazingly hilarious. Then when I did your show, you were there with the shirt of Divine.
Mm-hmm.
So you work for Trauma.
Yes.
The notorious,
the world's oldest independent film company, 45 years.
But just trashy movies.
Yes.
They're known for trashy movies.
Absolutely.
Revel in it.
Yes.
Also, you're a wrestler.
Something like that. Pro wrestling manager, I'd say.
Okay. So one of the things I talk about in my book is that people who are on the margins of culture are the ones who are the innovators because they have nothing to lose, right? So that's why historically disproportionately blacks, gays, and Jews have made so much culture. But white trash, and I hate that that's the expression because it's a pejorative, is an exception to this. And you have things like country music, wrestling comes out of the carnies. Mm-hmm. Now it's been made into this kind of like very corporate Hollywood thing. But you have your foot in, other than country, like in all those things. Like, what's your background?
Middle-class Jersey kid. Father was a welder.
Okay.
And grandfather was a welder. Everybody was welders. And when I was 2 or 3 years old, my dad took me to my first welding job, had me move stuff, and everything I moved, he would like give me $1. And his idea was to teach me the value of hard work. And what he taught me was I need to figure out another way to get these dollars.
But how? I mean, how? It's just fascinating to me.
I've fallen ass backwards into all these things.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, what's the reaction? Do you have any siblings?
Nope.
So, what's the reaction from mom and dad to their beautiful baby boy being covered in tattoos?
Just starting to get it.
Oh.
Very much just starting to get. Trauma was so I went to film school.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I love how the puzzles start getting together. Okay.
I went to NYU for film.
Okay.
All I've ever wanted to do was Trauma movies. So I saw Toxic Avenger when I was 13. I rewound it and watched it again. The second was over. It's all I've ever wanted. Right out of college, I started working at Trauma and wound up becoming an AD, assistant director for their features. Family never got it because the money's garbage.
Right.
But it's the happiest I could be.
Right.
And then senior year of college, took a class called The History of New York Comedy.
Oh.
Which should have just been called Jews.
Right.
And I actually opened for Big J.
Oh.
Because we had to do 5 minutes of stand-up. And Jay's manager at the time asked me if I'd be interested in trying comedy. So I just fell into that and became a doorman at a comedy club.
Which club?
CB's was now closed. It was down the street from the Cellar.
Okay.
And then the wrestling thing, the guys that ran the company were fans of Legion of Skanks. Asked me to come to a show if I'd be interested, and I just started hanging out and eventually became a character on their show.
See, I have a friend who loves the movie The Room.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of fair to say is a contemporary version of Rocky Horror, right?
More or less. I think parts of it are intentionally bad.
Wait.
Go ahead.
This was my big mistake. I have a film student, and I mentioned a film and a comparison to another film.
Yeah.
So you have the floor for the next 20 minutes.
Oh, no. I just think The Room I think there's worse movies that are more fun to sit through.
Yeah. So and Rocky Horror wasn't terrible. It's a coherent movie.
Yeah, it's a fun musical.
It's a fun musical, right?
How good are musicals?
I loathe musicals.
Like they're none of that brilliant.
No, I think they're an anachronism, and I can't. My autism flares up something fierce when people just spontaneously start singing. And the thing that really makes my autism spike is when there's two characters singing in different locations and they're finishing each other's verses. It drives me crazy.
I can see that.
Yeah. So wait. So, and my friend made me watch The Room, or tried to, and I'm like, this isn't funny or interesting to me. So one of the things we talked about when I was in your show, and please break it down for the audience. What do you think makes a good bad movie? And how would you explain this to someone?
John Waters once said that you have to have good taste to appreciate bad taste.
Okay, I like that.
So that's why certain, let's call them dog shit movies, are appealing. Because if you know what's supposed to happen in a movie, or like how movies work, when you see that fail, it's kind of beautiful. Like recently on my show, we just did, have you seen LaQuisha?
You talk about this movie a lot.
I can't stop talking about it.
You can't stop. Okay.
It just came out this year on Amazon, and it's a single dad trying to raise money for his son movie. And in this, it's every 90s movie. Divorced dad, broke, needs to use his comedic talents to help his kids. And in this, he becomes a black radio host. In the most like stereotypical, you live with LaQuisha. And I was watching it, and there's this beautiful little moment in it where they're in a diner, and in the shot is the air conditioner of the diner, and it's unplugged and the cord is wrapped around. And when you look at it, for someone who doesn't work on movies or doesn't know about movies, you would go, that's weird, the air conditioner's unplugged. But when you know about movies, you go, oh, the air conditioner was making too much noise and they couldn't get sound. So they unplugged it, but then never took it out of frame. That kind of mistake is delicious. It's so beautiful because it's somebody is so inept at their job.
Sure.
It's so fun.
Oh, I love stuff like that. I very much do. But
for me, the best part about a bad movie is if everyone in it doesn't know they're in a bad movie.
Okay.
So you'll see movies where people are hamming it up. Your Sharknadoes, for instance. No one thinks they're in a good movie.
Right.
But Troll 2, all amateur actors, their first movie, everyone's like, I'm going to fucking Hollywood. And they're giving it their all. That's beautiful.
So what is the perfect setting to watch a bad movie?
I think the perfect setting to watch a bad movie is when you're with your friends, maybe a few drinks, maybe smoking a little something, but like a good group setting with people you love so you can all kind of just let go and take in how bad something is and enjoy it and enjoy each other.
And if everyone's talking, who cares? You're not missing anything.
Exactly.
My friend Simon has this movie that he thinks is the funniest thing he's ever seen. And I'm blanking on the name, and I'm sure you know what it is. It was because it was so over the top, he thought it must be like Troll 2, but it was actually a documentary. He couldn't wrap his head around it. It was a documentary about them trying to fundraise movie for some vampire movie, I think in Michigan. And you know, it's they think they're and the movie actually came out. It was like an hour long. And this was like American Movie, I think it's called.
I think it's called American Movie. Yeah.
Are you a fan of that one?
Yes, that's very fun.
Okay, so that to me, he said, but I watched that and get it because it's just to me, people who are, there's a sadness to it when you have people who are like can't do anything right, and you're watching them.
Yes, but I think there's a beauty to it in a way.
Explain this to me.
I think there's something beautiful about failure.
Okay, so this is one of the first projects I ever did. Was a screenplay that never got produced about this band called Rubber Rodeo from the 80s. And they were a bunch of RISD kids, and what they did, the real band, what they did was they combined punk and country. And the singer was in a Dolly Parton wig and a big, what do you call it, crinoline dress. And they played by the rules. They did everything right and they went nowhere. And to me, that is so existentially disturbing and not something that is something I want to look at. It's something I'm terrified of.
But aren't there more of those bands than there are that ever made it?
Yeah, and that's a horrifying message.
So like Anvil, you look at, right?
I don't know Anvil.
There's the documentary movie called a band called Anvil.
Okay.
They essentially were the metal band that never made it.
Okay.
Still the 80s metal, still touring in a fucking van. That the passion that they still can't. They still go out.
Do they call it the Vanville? Please tell me.
I don't think so.
Oh damn it! That's why they didn't make it. Stupid. They're stupid.
There's something about the passion. I think that's beautiful. It is sad, but I don't know. There's something fun.
There's nothing fun. It's like when a kid dies. It's like,
well, we're gonna go down a whole other route.
Not in a funny John Bonet way, but it's kind of like we have to have this conviction, all of us. I certainly have to, that if you do X, Y, and Z, yeah, you're not going to be Steven Spielberg or whatever or Agatha Christie, but you will still be able to achieve some modicum of success, right? You'll be able to be a struggling podcaster who, yeah, you're not taking the cab and you're not eating the steak, but you're paying the rent and you're loving it. And to have it a message where it's like, even that could be denied you is awful.
I see where you're coming from, but I feel like most of those movies do try to at least have some happiness towards the end.
Yeah, but they're these people are failures, and they will never have happiness. They will never get. But
isn't the documentary in itself a modicum of now they're known because of the documentary?
Is it?
Yeah, now they're. I mean, we'll talk about the American Movie guys. We would have never heard about them without American Movie. Troll 2 would not be huge if it weren't for Best Worst Movie, the documentary about it. Even, if there's a movie about you, you found it. The movie in itself is the celebration, and it is the bit of fame that they've been looking for the whole time.
Okay, I can wrap my head around. Yeah, okay, if you watch Troll 2, the people do embrace, like, he's a dentist, right?
Yeah.
What Zach's talking about is there's a sequel to the movie Troll, which is nothing to do with Troll.
Has nothing to do. There's no trolls in it. It was a movie called Goblin.
Or Nailbug.
Yes. So there's a full. I'm obsessed with this company. Full Moon.
Okay, please go ahead.
It's Troma's biggest competition.
Oh, is that right? Do you guys hate each other?
Oh no, I love Full Moon.
Okay.
They tend to poach some of us when we do better. Not so much anymore, but you'll see a lot of crossover in the casts and some of the crews.
But are they trying to be bad?
They're trying to get money.
But Troma's self-aware.
Troma's self-aware, but we were banned from Blockbuster, which was our biggest problem.
Okay, well, that's their karma now.
Yes, but Full Moon wasn't. So Full Moon did phenomenal in the video market.
What's the biggest Full Moon movie or a couple?
The Puppet Master series.
Oh, those are huge. Holy crap.
There's fucking 11 of them.
Oh my God, wow.
So they made this movie Troll. It is when Full Moon still had Empire Pictures, where they were kind of shooting on film, making bigger movies. So like Sonny Bono's in it. Elaine from Seinfeld is in it. Michael Moriarty's in it. Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
You didn't know Elaine's name?
I couldn't remember her name. It slipped. I apologize.
Okay, she's in Veep.
Yeah, Michael Moriarty's in it.
Okay.
The Troll does fine. Good enough. Kidsy horror. There's nothing gory. It's a PG-13 kind of scary movie.
I was scared to see it as a kid because the commercials had like these people who were made into mushrooms, and I'm like, I don't want this.
So instead of making Troll 2, this Italian company came. They were going to make this quick movie in America and then dub it into Italian. So it didn't matter what the people were saying.
Oh, okay.
Because that's how Italian movies, nobody gives a fuck about dub. When you watch Italian movies, a lot of people are dubbed anyway because the sound sucks. So they were going to shoot it in America. The script does not make sense. The lines are not written by someone who speaks English, and they're read verbatim.
Right.
And it's all non-actors. They're in like Park City, Utah, like Salt Lake City somewhere.
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere. So it's all people that can't act, speaking in non-English sentences. Full Moon goes, fuck it, that's Troll 2. When there's no trolls in it, who cares? And released in America. The people in the movie didn't even know. It came out. And they're going, when's Goblin going to come out? And one day on the shows is just Troll 2. They ran out of money and never shot an ending.
So how does it end? I don't even remember this part.
It just stops.
No, there's this big fire thing.
That's like 2/3 into it.
Oh.
So they took a nightmare scene from earlier in the movie where the kid's family dies and just put it at the end.
Okay.
So there's no end. They never shot the end. Like, there's no definitive ending to the movie. And it's the best. And now there's a documentary about it. The kid in the movie revisits it, finds the cast, reassembles them, and kind of lets them know that this has become a cult classic.
But see, this is the thing about like things like that. I feel like a lot of times, especially with Kickstarter, things that are small and should be in the garbage can are now given this kind of significance they shouldn't. They're like, oh, this is the biggest cult movie of all time, and they're having these screenings, but like it's like 20 people showing up. It's not like they're filling up movie houses.
No, I saw Troll 2 at the Sunshine before it closed. That was like a 200-seater.
And it was Phil?
It was sold out. The cast was there, though.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there's nothing before. Did you ever go to UCB East before it closed?
Upright Citizens Brigade?
Yeah, it's right down the street from here.
Oh, once. God.
Terrible. Before it was that, it used to be called the Pioneer, and it was a theater. It was like a 30-seat movie theater.
Wait, UCB East closed?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
But it used to be like a 30-seat movie theater called the Pioneer.
Okay.
And it was the fucking best.
Okay.
Because you could see it was the Wild West. I saw Bloodsucking Freaks there, which is the first Troma movie. It's like 78. The
78?
director,
It's that old?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the director brought his print of it from then. And you know, like everything Grindhouse tries to be, the scratchy prints, the mistakes, it was all real. And it was his copy of it. And they knew they were going out of business, so people were just smoking in the theater. And I was like, this is the closest I'll ever be to 42nd Street. Those little theaters are so fun. Like, I'm so bummed they don't have, like, there's none of those in New York anymore.
But how much of this mindset is there at NYU Film School?
None.
Okay, so what was that like for you?
I never cared. I was making my shitty movies, and I was having the time of my life.
Yeah, but at the same time, you were getting graded. You have colleagues, right? You have classmates.
Who all had way more money. They were making, like, $5,000 to $10,000 movies with their parents' money.
Right.
I made a 60-minute movie for $1,000.
Okay.
And I got the same grades as them.
But how did they treat you?
Like a second-class citizen, but it was so fun.
How was that?
Because the professors dug it. The professors got it.
So you are, she's all that.
Something like, yeah.
Because it's
if I take the glasses off, and I'm a beautiful girl under this when you get the paint off me.
No, but it's like they think they're, okay. I remember my favorite comedian talking about bad movies is Neil Hamburger, who I'm going to be seeing next week in New York.
I saw him open for Tenacious D. It was the happiest I've ever been.
It's just amazing. And I'm seeing, and for those who don't know, he does anti-humor. I'm not going to break it down. If you don't know, and if you watch the show, I can help you. And I'm seeing him in LA, and in front of me at the table, it was tables at the Satellite, there was a basic bitch with her boyfriend on a date. And she turns to him at one point and goes, "What is this?" And I'm imagining that you're at NYU Film School and everyone there thinks they're an auteur. And they look at you and they're like, all right, whatever. And then you're handing in, what is this? And then the professor is appreciating what you're doing because first of all, I'm sure they don't see it often. But at the same time, in the context of cinema, it's very well established and understood, you know, what you're doing to an extent. So they're going to be like, oh, fine. This is okay. I get where this guy's going for. This is cool. It must have driven them crazy.
It drove them. I literally, my second movie I made was a sequel to the first one I made that no one saw.
Right.
It was called Schizoid Sluts from Planet Fucktard 2, Frankensluts.
Okay.
And I got real goofy B-movie people to be Lloyd Kaufman from Troma is in my NYU thesis film.
Okay.
Some of the Troma actors are all in it because I just was a kid with a camera and I would show up and bug them.
Yeah. Did you pay him?
No. I fed them.
Okay.
That's something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then right out of there, people from Troma saw them and asked me if I would want to come and work at the office, unpaid, of course. And then eventually I became an AD and started making moves at them.
Yeah, but I want to talk more about NYU.
Oh, yeah, of course. Please, I'm sorry.
What's the culture there like? When you're is it like where all the students see each other's films?
No, you take class. So you're in like probably a class of like 30.
Okay.
So you see probably like 30 people.
Right. So you're seeing everyone's films, right?
Yeah, and everyone is real serious about it.
Yeah. They want to be whatever. They want to be, everyone knows what they want to be. You go to NYU Film School, you want to be a certain kind of thing. Then you're showing Frankenslots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you looking around the room? What's the reaction?
Just completely don't get it because people don't watch that kind of shit.
But how do they manifest not getting it? Are they
Hard
rolling their
disguise.
eyes?
Yeah, because
for them, it feels like you're taking a literal shit on what they're trying to do.
Yes.
And you're not taking this seriously, although you're probably taking it more seriously than any of them.
The editing, yes, because I did certain things that like I mimicked bad movies.
Yeah.
People got that it was like my niche thing, and I was like the punk kid.
Okay.
Nobody liked it,
Right.
but I had a blast.
But I mean, were you shunned?
I worked with a few people. I wound up doing effects for people towards the end. Like
Okay.
people would run out of money and not know how to do cheap effects. And I would either have friends from my Troma world or myself could like we could fudge something for no money that looks fine if you shoot it right.
Right.
So then that tended to be my saving grace socially, was somebody would be like, I have no money and I need gallons of blood. And I got you.
What's the trick for that? Is it ketchup?
Red food color. It's the classic recipe you've heard of, but they would never think, because they would go to the grocery store and buy red food coloring. And go to fucking Restaurant Depot.
Yeah.
Like simple things that you just don't think of because you've never dealt in that world before.
Teacher's pet. Okay, never mind. So the other thing I find fascinating is when people are in like certain contexts, they're very known, and outside that context, no one knows or gives a crap. Lloyd Kaufman, head of Trauma, is a legendary figure in like B movies.
Yes.
Were you like starstruck when you met him?
The first time, yeah, very much so. I mean, because this is a guy who's been making movies for 40 years.
How many Trauma movies are there now?
There's two kinds. There's in-house and out-of-house. Out-of-house just means they bought it and distribute it.
Okay, sure.
There's been probably about 800 of those.
No, but in-house.
In-house, I think between 20 and 30.
Okay.
Some much better than others. Because before Toxic Avenger, Troma made sexy comedies.
Oh, like Porky's.
Yeah, those type of like teenagers in the woods finding themselves. They made a softball movie, a camping movie, shit like that. So he's been making movies forever. And pre-Porky's, he was doing that shit. So yeah, he was like a legend.
So we got a question from the chat room.
Yes.
And I'm scared to ask this.
It's fine.
No, I'm scared because it's going to be a monologue. Because I'm sure you have a lot to say about this because this is a good question. Okay. What do you think about Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2? And are they bad movies that are just great, or are they just great?
They're just great. Evil Dead 2, I prefer because the slapstick, and I think it was a very brave move and kind of revolutionary.
Are those the Bruce Campbell movies?
Yes.
Okay.
To kind of bring that Three Stooges-esque violence into a serious horror movie. But they're great. Yeah, they're no fucking money, and they just went and made their movie, and they're brilliant. They're gory and wonderful. Yeah, it's not gonna be a monologue. They're the fucking best.
What's that movie where the grandma becomes a killer and she starts getting bigger?
Dead Alive.
Dead Alive. That's what I'm thinking.
That's Peter Jackson. That's the best. That's probably in my top 5.
Okay, of bad movies. Well,
Of
it's
all
not
time.
even bad.
No, it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Phenomenal.
So what is the perfect setting to watch a bad movie?
I think the perfect way to watch a bad movie is by yourself, completely sober, so that you can take in everything that's wrong with it, and then on the second viewing recognize all the funny things, but you have to take it in once earnestly.
Let me take you a second and tell you about Modern Nature CBD. ModernNature.com, code Malice15, you get 15% off. What is it? What they do is they elevate CBD to extract its maximum potential. They partner with doctors to create powerful plant-based solutions. Here's how they do it. Sleep. They have something called Rested capsules. Use the power of CBD, helps you rest. You take melatonin, you guys don't do it because you're not going to get good REM sleep. Just 1 to 2 capsules before bed. Recover in the morning. Long night of drinking. They have something called the Revived Concentrate. It's the only CBD and electrolyte concentrate on the market. It's considered up to 9 times more effective than traditional oil-based products. You just drop a little bit into water, to juice, sports drink, and you're going to feel much better. Most importantly, every Modern Nature CBD product is free of addictive chemicals and harsh side effects, third-party lab tested, PhD formulated, and endorsed by medical professionals. 0 calories, free of THC. They won't get you high, and it's soy-free with no GMOs. If you go to modernnature.com and use promo code MALICE15, you get 15% off your order. Do me a favor and do check them out. Hey guys, Michael Malice here. I want to tell you guys about Blinkist. Blinkist. If you go to Blinkist.com/malice, you get a free 7-day trial. Free is pretty good. So what's Blinkist? It's a great app. What it does is it takes the key takeaways from thousands of nonfiction books and condenses them down to just 15 minutes you can read or listen to. Think how useful this is if you're on a date, job interview, party. Oh yeah, there's this book everyone's talking about. You don't got to read the book. Just spend the 15 minutes. Thousands of books there. If you go to Blinkist.com, Blinkist.com/malice, it's free for 7 days. They've got the political stuff. They've got the old school stuff. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. 15 minutes, you losers will finally be able to win friends. Well, maybe for some of you it'll take a little longer than 15 minutes. Tim Ferriss. You like Michelle Obama? They have Michelle Obama. You like the Trump books? They got the Trump books. If you go to Blinkist.com, Blinkist.com/malice, you can listen to their huge library of books and be up to speed with what everyone is talking about. And speaking of talking about, let's get back to the show. So I think that the thing in American culture, we tend to conflate bad with low budget.
Yes.
And that's not accurate. Because a lot of these low budget, like we recognize in indie movies, like something playing at the Angelica with the Parker Posey back in the day, it's like, oh, this is an amazing thing, even though the budget's nothing. But somehow when it comes to like horror, if it's low budget, why is there this kind of conflation?
I think you get the same problem with music too. Like people will be like, oh, this doesn't sound clean.
Yeah.
But no, it's punk rock. And I think it's the same with low budget movies. So yeah, we didn't wait for the money. We made it with what we had. I think it's the same as making a punk record. It's loud, it's abrasive, and it gets your attention for what it had. But yeah, people all the time like, oh, this looks like shit. But yeah, probably on purpose. And who cares if they had the money? They made the movie.
Are there any? But here's the issue I have as an author, and I'm going to sound pompous because I am. I don't understand why, and maybe you could explain to me, so many of these like cheapy horror movies are so formulaic in their plot, because it wouldn't be hard to have a creative plot that costs nothing. It just takes one smart person to be like, hey, what if instead of this, blah, 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 blah. Like you didn't have to, or is it the kind of thing where if they had that good plot idea, they're going to be able to sell it for a lot of money? Like Scream has a brilliant plot.
I think you found it right there.
Okay.
If it was that brilliant, there's a much better chance somebody putting some money into it. Plus, you got to realize horror is a lot of people's first movie.
Okay.
That's how you get in. So, had I been born 20 years before I was, I would have never went to film school. I would have worked in porn for 5 years. Because that's what everybody did. You shot on film, and eventually working as a gaffer, lighting guy, camera technician on porn was film school. I did not have, because by the time I was old enough, porn was all shot on digital, so it didn't matter. So for a lot of guys, back in the day it was porn, now it's horror. And that's your first movie because most people will see any horror. Like, if you're going to see horror movies, you're going to see any horror movie. regardless of the budget. So it gets your name out there. It gets you your first credit, and then you can move on to the stuff you want to make. But usually people's first deal is hard. So that's why you'll see a lot of amateur mistakes, because they are amateur mistakes.
What's it like working with Lewis? You guys do how many days a week?
3.
How do you? I mean, what I mean, it's just what's that like working with him that much?
It's like Stockholm syndrome, I think.
I'm living my own horror movie.
Yeah. No, he's been my friend for...
How did you meet him?
My first night at a comedy club ever was CB's, and he was on the bill. And he had Hammer Fisting podcast time. This is before there were podcasts, really.
Yeah.
I think he told me what a podcast was.
Wow. Okay.
And he took a Sharpie and wrote Hammer Fisting on my arm so that I would remember to go home and download it. You don't talk about marketing. That's how he used to tell people to download his podcast. He would write it down on you and make you go subscribe on iTunes.
I never knew what's hammer fisting mean.
It was his MMA podcast.
Oh, so
that him and Dave did in their bedroom.
So he was into MMA for this long. I didn't know that. Oh, I thought this was. Oh, wow. Okay.
And then just stayed friends with him for like 5 years. He taught me how to sell. I used to sell tickets outside the club, and he was the king of that. So he taught me how to sell tickets.
What's the trick to selling tickets?
Just being super accommodating.
What does that mean? Give me actual things to say that I could say.
The way I did it.
Okay.
If you recognize a group is on a big night out, never present the club like it's just the club. This is your whole night out. I'm not a ticket salesman. All right. I am a nightlife maitre d'. I've done this so many when I used to sell tickets, I could just walk them into the club. Never. Walk them through the kitchen and say hello to every Mexican who does not know me. Just go, hey, how you doing? And then every time the girl turns to the boyfriend and goes, it's like Goodfellas. They love it. That's it. It's just giving them you sell the experience, not the ticket.
So what's the icebreaker?
What are you guys doing tonight? See the comedy show? Where are you going? What are you guys doing tonight? Just be nice.
And they respond?
Absolutely. Dude, I used to have a fucking giant mohawk, and tourists wanted to talk to me because, that's a New York person.
Oh, yeah, because they've seen you in the books.
Yeah. I had a tourist one time go, we met the guy with the blue hair last night.
Oh, God. Okay.
So that's how I met Lewis, and then he was putting together a Real Ass Podcast. He was going to do a demo, and he literally said, hey, you post funny shit on Facebook. Do you want to be my first guest?
Okay.
And then I was just the co-host.
Huh. What's the biggest fight you've had with him?
We don't have huge blowout. I'll tell you what, it was when he was booking a room.
Okay.
LOL New York. Him and his ex kind of booked the comics. And I was doing horrible because it was a hood room.
Okay.
And I don't know if
in a hood crowd.
I don't know if you can tell this. I'm kind of a smarmy cunt.
Yeah. That's why you're here.
Yeah. On top of that, at the time, big like 80s hair, makeup, and colorful suits. So I would just walk the room. I was horrible, but I wasn't getting funnier because nobody wanted to listen.
Okay.
And most people's idea for comedy was like, well, you have to learn how to get that room. But I was like, no, because that's not my crowd. I need to find my crowd. So I quit doing comedy there, and we had a huge fight where he was like, you're never going to get better if you don't want to go up and bomb. But it was not that. It was just not my crowd.
Well, in all fairness, if you're walking the room, are you really bombing? It's not the same as bombing.
I walked the same 2 people twice in one night.
How?
It was 2 showrooms. I go up. There's 2 black ladies. They get up and leave, and I guess they went to the front desk.
Do you remember what joke did it?
No, I have no idea.
Do you remember what your jokes were at that time? What was your material like?
Dirty stories, same as it is now.
Give me one.
Oh, I can't. I do long form.
How long are we talking?
I do like 4-minute bits. I do like long stories.
Come on, you gotta, okay, this gotta be your best long bit.
I don't want to do a bit on a podcast.
Why?
That's weird.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really weird.
But if it's a story, that's less weird.
I hate doing bits on podcasts. It feels so disingenuous.
Okay.
But I saw these two ladies, they go to the front desk and they were like, we don't want to leave. We just don't want to see him. So they put him in the other showroom and they see another comic and I get off stage and go, hey, somebody didn't show up. Can you go out of the other room? Oh, yeah, sure. And they bring me up again and the two ladies go, ah, and fucking stand up and walk out again.
But what was this argument? So you're saying I quit.
I'm saying I can't do spots here anymore. I'm never going to do good here.
Okay.
And if anything, I'm losing bits as opposed to adding. I'm losing my writing because I'm throwing out bits that I know work because they don't work in this room.
That's a lot of self-confidence.
And he said, and his argument was, you can only get better going up against bad crowds. I disagree about that. That was probably our biggest fight ever.
So,
but he and I do different kinds of comedy.
Yeah, of course.
I don't really do crowd work. I do like storytelling, and he does more traditional joke form. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, but he's more apt to do better in that room.
Yeah. But I don't understand why he would get agitated if you're like this.
Because I was a young comic turning down stage time.
But that still seems, that's very big-hearted of him.
Oh yeah, he was being nice, but we just butted heads about it big time.
Because so in his mind, he's doing you a favor.
Yes.
And you're saying, no, fuck you, I'm putting this favor in the garbage. And he's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, how old is he? Was hardly ancient this time either. I'm sure he's only a few years older than you.
Yeah, Lewis is like 7 years older.
Okay, yeah. So he's hardly the like wizened grandmaster, but still, he's just like, all right, kid, you're talking.
Yeah. But we were both right.
Yeah.
We just didn't know each other well enough yet to recognize what the other one was doing.
Has there been a time? There must have been a time when you bombed, not walking in the room, just bombed. Like it was you, and it.
Oh yeah, of course.
What was that like? The worst time you bombed?
The worst I ever bombed was going in between bands. Already bad.
Ooh.
All right, are you ready for the hair on the back of your... Okay.
No, I'm not.
I was supposed to go on at 11. At 2 a.m, the lady that runs the club, well, I guess bands went late or whatever, goes, all right, we're going to put you on. Crowd is hammered.
Where was this? Do you remember?
Some nightclub in like the Lower East Side.
Okay.
And she's all right, we're going to bring you up.
Pianos.
And she goes, wait here. She goes, all right, before your next act, I want all the birthday girls to come up on stage.
Oh, God.
And then they have a spanking competition where each girl gets spanked for the number of years that it's her birthday.
Okay.
Then she says, all right, guys, do you want more spanking or a comedian? Ladies and gentlemen, Zekabiko.
Okay.
I go up. They hand me the next band's microphone, which is like one of those LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out, like covers your entire face microphones.
Okay.
So now I'm just a fat body with a complete microphone head.
Yeah.
And I start my first bit, like 2 sentences, like I'm maybe a sentence in, and it's just boo. Boo. Like, I can't get over the boos. I can't talk over them. And after like 2 minutes, I'm like, you know what? Fuck you guys. There was a goth club too. I go, you're not fucking vampires. Everyone knows you're fucking idiots. And I have the microphone and you have to listen to everything I have to say. And then they turned my microphone off.
Oh, that showed you.
And I threw the microphone and jumped off the stage. I didn't even go off the stairs. I just jumped off the stage and the entire crowd chased me out of the venue, out the door, onto the subway.
To the subway?
Yes. To the subway until I left. I was gone.
Oh
People literally followed me out, grabbing at me and throwing shit at me.
Did you get paid?
$25.
Okay. It's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Wow. How did that feel, though?
Horrible until I got on the subway, and then it was funny.
Yeah. I did stand-up for like 6 months, very long time ago. And the reason I stopped is the same material that killed... I'm enough of a nerd. The same material that killed one night walked the room the next. And I'm like, this fucks with my head too much, where it's the same input and I'm getting completely different output. And that is really not a good situation for me to try to figure out what's good and what isn't. And yeah, like now I'm at a point where if I did it again, I wouldn't do stand up. Like I know how to hold a mic and keeps people's attention, obviously, but it was disturbing.
Yeah, I loved Jay, and I always wanted to do what Jay did, but then I realized that wasn't my speed. So it took me a few years to like find my tempo. That I wasn't doing Jay, I wasn't doing Norton or the people that I kind of idolized. I kind of found my thing, which is a little closer to Bobcat.
Yeah, okay.
And now I'm very comfortable. But it took me longer than most people to find my rhythm.
So there's this idea that everyone who's a stand-up comedian has some kind of like fucked up upbringing or background. Is that true here?
Not really. I mean, parents divorced, but no abuse or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your parents ask you, and I'm sure your friends ask you, why you like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you say?
It's following my bliss. I think it's just I do everything that makes me happy.
How many tattoos do you have at this point?
Somewhere in almost under a little under 30.
What was the first one?
Band logo on my back. It's a skull. It's a goth band called Bella Morte.
Okay.
And it's their logo. It's a skull with like dreadlocks.
What made you get that one first?
They're my favorite band for like, they still are. And I just always wanted their logo.
Have you met them?
Oh yeah, I know them well.
Okay, and they know about the tattoo.
Yeah.
What was their reaction?
Oh, they have tons of fans that have it. They do fine.
Okay.
After that, I have I have a zombie inside that arm.
Well, Gavin McIngus, he's got like tattoos that he got as a gag. Because like there's one where it was Randy Savage snapping to a Slim Jim and said, "Are you not?" I don't remember what it was, the little quote, and he's like, "Oh, that's funny," and he got that quote. Is there one that's a joke, or do they all kind of? I mean, they're tongue in cheek.
Yeah, they're not. See, I don't have any serious ones. No, I don't think I have anything like purposely stupid. My version of stupid, yes, but nothing that's like trolling.
What's the one that most people be like, why do you have that?
Oh, the juggalette on my arm.
The what?
I have a clown pinup.
So that's from ICP.
Not technically. It was a regular pinup girl that my friend drew the ICP makeup on her.
So was that in 2 sessions?
No, it was once. My friend was a tattoo artist.
What made you decide to get that?
I love clowns. I like circus shit and clowns, and I love tattoos of naked ladies because my dad was a welder, so everyone I grew up with, every dude had tattoos of like pinup girls and like just trashy white people tattoos.
Okay, let's explain this to me because I'm a little bit of a princess here. Do they jerk off to their own tattoos? Like, what's the point?
I have no idea. I've always loved pinup art.
I like the kitsch pinup art. I like the historical stuff. I love the idealization. I'm just saying, if you have a naked chick on your tattoo on your arm, what are you doing with that? Other than
I think it's just saying I love naked women.
I mean, you could say that with your mouth.
Yes, of course. And I've just loved the idea. I love sideshow shit, circus shit.
I get why you love it.
Go ahead.
Because you understand what's going on. You have the arm's length, but it's not arm's length. You're part of it, but it's both. Like you got one foot in each door. These welders are not students of Women Revolt and Pink Flamingos.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I think it is.
Okay.
So when I first got out of college, I worked for my dad for a little while at the welding shop. And one time he said, he took everyone that worked there and said, "Who has a bank account?" Fucking silence. And these are guys who are making, so this is like 2005, they're making more money than they should be.
Yeah.
Basically a welder is someone who is the best job they can get because they're a felon.
Okay.
That's what a welder is I'm a felon. This is the best I can do. Okay. And they're making $20, $30 an hour. They all live in motels, and we would see them all go to the motel on Friday, payday. And when we drove to work on Monday, you would see all the hookers leaving the motel, and they would be broke on Monday. So I think part of that with certain kinds of manual labor where you make all this money in these spurts is, shit, I have all this money. I want to get a tattoo. And that's what's on the fucking wall is naked ladies, because that's what flash art is.
What's flash art?
Flash art is like when you go into a tattoo shop, the shit that's already on the wall pre-done.
That's called flash art?
Yeah, it's flash art.
Okay.
So like a flash sheet, artists sell, like, this is my flash sheet, and like these are examples of the tattoos I do. So shops will have that on the walls. So these guys come in with a few $100. Then I want to get a fucking tattoo, and they look at the walls and go, yeah, I like naked ladies.
Wait a minute.
Boom.
Okay, hold on. Okay, this is hurting my head because I think I'm starting to get it. Back in the 60s, they told Andy Warhol, someone told Andy Warhol, he's like, I don't know what to paint. And he probably was on the spectrum. And they go, paint what you love. So he literally started painting money, right? It was like he was painting dollar bills, roll dollar bills, blah, blah. So is it as simple as they're going to tattoo parlor and they're like, well, I want to get a tattoo. Okay, what do you like? I don't know, pussy. Okay. That's it? That's the thought process?
I can literally hear the jackpot sounds as the 3 sevens just lined up in your eyes. Yes.
Holy shit. I'm so used to working on like 3 levels
Yeah, no,
that it's hard
super
for me
easy.
to work on like half a level.
When I was a welder, we were putting pad eyes on the docks.
What are these words? I don't know.
Okay, we were putting
Break it down. I'm Jewish.
bumpers.
I know. I still.
When the Staten Island ferry comes in,
Yeah.
there's soft shit on the side of the dock so that it doesn't scrape the boat.
Got it.
That's what we were doing.
Okay.
I'm working with a guy from West Virginia. Literally looked like he was in the Country Bear Jamboree.
Okay.
That his name was James. He married a blind woman and wore a camouflage tuxedo.
Okay.
We went to go get a snack at
Wait
like
a
a
minute.
snack stand.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Stop. If the wife's blind, you don't need to camouflage yourself. She can't see you. You could wear neon. She still can't see you.
Go to a snack stand. In no irony whatsoever, ask the lady at the snack stand, what flavor is Pinto ice cream?
Pinto. Oh no. God, no. Oh God, no.
That's my background.
Okay.
That's who I grew up with.
Okay.
So yes, this is what the whole white trash aesthetic. 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out. Because this is my real upbringing.
See, we were immigrants, and I think we were fighting, kicking, and screaming not to have this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and my mom was very bougie. I mean, she was always dressed to the nines and so on and so forth. So I think there's something so, I don't know what it is. It's just, I get along with people like this, surprisingly. Like, I can hang out with them and talk to them. I don't know how, because I think they're a lot more sane and normal than, let's say, someone who works at the New York Times, who is going to be pompous and pretentious. We're not going to be on the same wavelength, but we're going to be able to get along fine. But it's just, like, at what point did you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm like living inside this kind of meta-ironic thing? When did you start have the perspective that this is like?
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
You know, yeah, okay,
My dad collected cowboy boots.
okay.
He's
That's
a
cool.
welder. I don't think he's ever ridden a horse, but my
Okay.
dad collected and
Cool.
like elephant skin, ostrich skin, and his favorite was
Hold on.
yes. And the wallet I have is stingray skin.
Okay.
That was my dad's favorite boots. He had black, gray, and blue stingray skin.
Yeah.
And my dad's all he wore pretty much when I was a kid. If we went out, parent teacher anything, cowboy boots, jeans, denim shirt, Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
I was watching a Jeff Foxworthy special on Comedy Central. He came out in my dad's exact outfit, lifted his jeans, and went, "Blue Stingray cowboy boots. Can you believe these?" And I looked at my dad. I was like, "Yeah, this is our life.
Yeah.
This is New Jersey, the south of the north."
Yeah. Yeah. But how old were you where you're like, oh, most people aren't like this?
12.
I mean, when you were in school, did
Yes.
you get like treated like as like low class and like
No, we were like middle class. We did fine. My dad's uncle was the mayor of our town.
you're like Billy Carter?
Exactly.
Holy
So
shit.
my dad's uncle was the mayor, and my dad was on the board of education.
Okay.
So if anything, it was the opposite, where people treated me like my family was like highfalutin.
Oh. Okay. What about mom? What was she like?
Mom's just a regular North Bergen Jersey lady. She was an art teacher when I was little. And then she's been a bartender most of my life.
So what is the perfect setting to watch a bad movie?
I think the perfect way to watch a bad movie is with your parents, because there's no way that you're going to have the same opinion as them. And there's nothing more fun than ruining a night for your parents.
What's been a good movie you've watched with your folks?
My Conception.
Michael Malice here. I want to tell you guys about Monday.com. Everyone hates Mondays, but you're going to like Monday.com. If you go to Monday.com/welcome, they give you a free 14-day trial. What is it? Okay. So this is a management tool that helps you keep track of what everyone's doing without having to look over each other's shoulders and send infinite emails. It's a centralized site. You create accountability. You assign tasks to different people. They update, okay, this is taken care of. This is in process. You don't have to stress out wondering if something you assigned to be due on Wednesday is going to be due on Wednesday. You will see on Monday, you will see on Tuesday how things are progressing along, and then they don't have to report back to you. It's a great way to distribute information to your team, whether it's 2 or 20. If you go to monday.com/welcome, you get a free 14-day trial, and it's really effective when you're working with people who aren't localized in the same environment, same geographic location, or different time zones. So if it's 9 a.m. New York and you need something for a meeting, you don't have to worry about your people in LA because they've updated their monday.com and you could see where things are and where things are going. So you could tell the client, oh, we're this far along. We'll have it by this time. Just go to monday.com/welcome for a free 14-day trial. You are welcome. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Wix.com. What Wix does is it gives you the freedom to create the websites you want. Go to letthatbeyourwelcome.com and you can see what we've done for this show. I've just added a link very easily to the theme song for this show. If you want to order it, just go to letthatbeyourwelcome.com. If you don't want to order it, that's fine. Check it out. You can start building your site for free. And if you click at the link at the bottom of letthatbeyourwelcome.com, Wix gives you 10% off any premium plan. I cannot stress this enough. You need to have your own URL. So when people are Googling you from Tinder or a job interview or whatever it is, that will be the first thing that comes up. And Wix.com lets you make a website simply and easily. If you know how to use PowerPoint, you know how to use Wix. It's just drag and drop. Create a nice basic page for people to look at. And that's just the beginning. If you have a business, whatever it is, they can help you set it up very, very simply. If you go to letthatbeyourwelcome.com and click the link at the bottom, they'll give you 10% off any premium plan. Not too shabby, people. So we got a comment from the chat room. People are shocked. I'm kind of upset by this comment because it's so basic. People are shocked that there's fish boots. Let me break it down. And I am someone who's as far from cowboy as possible. Stingray leather is very common, very frequently used, especially because Stingray has a nice ridge down the back, so you could kind of have it be elevated. You have that down the middle of the boot. So not only have they Stingray boots, which are very, very common use, they now have, maybe they've had them a long time, bass boots, where these bass with giant scales are made into boots. So fish boots, and when you have eel leather, that is actually hagfish, which is from, usually not actually eel, which is from the bottom of the sea and produces copious amounts of slime.
And FYI for the chat, believe it or not, fish, waterproof.
Yeah.
Great waterproofing.
Yeah.
On fish.
Yeah. Someone I know, who I can't say who they are because this is illegal, has seal fur boots that they got from Norway via, I think, Estonia, and they're not actually waterproof, they're water resistant. But yeah, so you could get him on. Oh, it's a movie reference of being told. Fish Boots.
I don't know that one.
I don't know. Maybe it's from was that Big Fish or Fish Story? What's that Tim Burton movie? It's a Big Fish.
Big
right?
Fish.
Yeah. Okay, so give me some other. You always say Sharknado. Give me some horror movies that are bad that you can watch non-ironically, and then bad that you're watching from a humorous perspective.
Okay. So, Doll Man is one I did recently that I love.
Doll Man.
Doll Man, it's kind of a sci-fi movie more.
But isn't that copyright DC Comics?
No. Movie titles can't be copyrighted.
I could make a movie called Star Wars?
There's literally a movie in Turkey called Star Wars. Turkish Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, certain things, you'll see movies with the same titles over and over again.
Okay. No, but Doll Man is a character, a DC Comics character. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The movie Doll Man is about a Dirty Harry-esque detective on another planet who gets sucked into a wormhole to Earth. When he gets here, he's 12 inches tall.
Okay.
And he gets dropped in the Bronx. And it is a super low-budget movie, so the Bronx is L.A. with the same 3 shots of the Bronx repeated the entire movie.
Okay.
That one I love.
So you're loving it non-ironically. It's a good movie.
It's really fun, yeah.
Wait. So you're saying you're...
Unironically, yes.
Okay.
Because everyone in it's trying really hard.
But are they succeeding?
Yes, everyone's good in it.
Okay, so they're trying and they're succeeding. Okay.
My favorite, I would say, is called Head of the Family.
Okay.
Head of the Family is 3 triplets. Oh, excuse me, not even triplets, quadruplets. Big muscle guy with super sight and super hearing, big fake titted blonde, and they are all controlled by a guy who is literally just a head in a wheelchair doing an Orson Welles impression.
Okay.
And a family tries to blackmail them, and you find out that they're like an evil family who's been kidnapping people and doing experiments on them, and they have an entire basement full of lobotomized people that they force to perform plays. That's my favorite movie.
Okay.
Third, Romeo and Juliet.
So these are all movies that are quality.
Yes, they're really, really fun.
Okay.
And good, and everyone's doing a good job in them.
Right. I got one that I'm sure love. You're going to break it down because there's like 4 of them, I think. Basket Case.
Oh, yeah, Basket Case is phenomenal.
Talk about a clever idea.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want you to know how many are there? 3?
Yes.
Those are would you say those are done well and good? You watch them non-ironically?
100%.
Okay.
Because I think the first Basket Case might be the best representation of 42nd Street the way it was.
Yeah.
Because you very rarely see it portrayed as gross as it was when you see New York, other than like a Taxi Driver. But this is Taxi Driver without a professional film crew.
Right.
So this is what Times Square used to be. It's almost like a time capsule.
I will also recommend the movie Times Square, not joking, which is a perfect time capsule of that era, which is a great movie.
And third, I'll go Romeo and Juliet, which is Troma's best movie. It's from 96. It was written and not officially, but off the record, probably co-directed by James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow, okay.
And it is a Troma version of Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
And it's excellent. All the actors in it are great. And it's Troma silliness with a real cast of, like, people that what James Gunn wound up using in all his movies, pretty much.
Okay.
On top of some real Shakespearean actors.
So now, what are some movies, I would say 3 movies that are like, oh my God, this is a train wreck. You know, here's something I like. I always tell people I enjoy having a bad time. Mm-hmm. Because if you go to, let's suppose, a shitty restaurant, and the food is cold, and it takes a long time, and the waiter has an attitude. After a certain point, you're like, how is this real? Like how? So with a bad movie, I think it's the same thing. At a certain point, you're like, okay, how are they going to keep topping their fuck upness? So what are some movies like that are like
School Spirit?
Okay,
School Spirit is a college sex comedy where the main character dies in a car accident going to get a condom. His uncle comes to get him and bring him to heaven, but they find out that through, I don't know how, that basically if you do the Three Stooges, you reappear and you can talk with people, or you can go and turn invisible again. And it's an 80s movie, so guess what he does with that power?
Looks at girls naked in the locker room?
Oh boy, does he.
Right, okay.
And it gets wildly uncomfortable. The uncle literally does the nyuk nyuk nyuk, turns invisible, and he's an old man with a cigar, and literally goes in bed with a sleeping girl and undresses her while narrating it. And it's like 5 minutes of the most uncomfortable shit in your life.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. What else?
We just watched the trailer for The Creeps.
Okay.
That is a movie where a mad scientist steals the original texts of like Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy, and tries to resurrect those fictional characters through some type of mad sciencey thing, but it gets interrupted, so they are all resurrected as midgets.
Okay.
So it is midget, Wolfman, Dracula, Mummy, and Frankenstein.
Have you seen the film Ooga Booga that my
Yes.
friend was in? Is it terrible?
That's a full moon movie.
Oh. Now I'm getting it. So Full Moon is doing it deadpan much more than Trauma.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm sure, have you seen Birdemic?
No, I've never heard. This is not my scene.
Birdemic is a very hastily put together, I would almost say, remake of The Birds, done by a Vietnamese guy. But it's all like first day of CGI school birds. So it's literally people fighting birds, but it's like the same loop of 3 birds in a circle. And that one's real rough. We screened that one of our trauma festivals, and it's to the point where like the sound doesn't matter. Like it's, I don't know, halfway through it, I couldn't figure out if it was bad on purpose, which takes a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what are some movies? You know how like we talked about this a bit when I did your show. When I'm a huge 80s fan, I know you are as well. Like it drives me crazy when people like Stranger Things, like remember the 80s, New Coke? It's like, no. People who are 80s aficionados remember Hubba Bubba soda.
Mm-hmm.
Or they remember, it's like some, or like, was that 7 Up Gold? They're not going to remember New Coke. That's corporate 80s. So what are some, this movie's so bad that people mention that you roll your eyes, you're like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's The Room. The Room fucking drives me nuts.
Here we go. Let's hear it.
I think he's a character. Tommy Wiseau, I think, is a fictional character portrayed. I think he plays this crazy guy.
Explain the story of The Room and the mythos, please.
So there's a movie called The Disaster Artist that is the story of The Room. James Franco put it together. And it is the story of this super low budget movie that was made in LA. The guy that put it together, the entire advertising budget was he put up a billboard to go see The Room. And it's a movie written, directed, and starring this guy from a country that he can't really explain. He's got kind of a Transylvanian accent. And it's just horribly put together. The dialogue leads nowhere, and it's a jerk-off piece. It's all about him. I think it's a character because he's continued to do funny things since then.
Okay.
I'll tell you why I hate The Room, and it's probably my own problem. We talked before how much I love Troll 2.
Yeah.
One time when I was at NYU, I heard the conversation that's ruined The Room for me, is I heard one hipster say to a girl, "There's a new The Room. It's this movie that was recently discovered called Troll 2.
Oh, no.
And I was like, how's it recently discovered? It's from before it. And I was like, I fucking hate The Room ever since then. Same as I saw Crystal Castles once, and a guy turned... What?
The band?
Yeah, and I love Crystal Castles. A guy at the show turned around to me and went, "Man, this band knows how to rock," and went for a double high five.
Oh, my God.
And I went, "You just ruined this concert for me."
One of my favorite unknown musicians is Leslie Hall, who I'm sure you're a fan of. Mm-hmm. Do you know her? She's got all the gem sweaters. And I put up her video on my Facebook, and someone was like, "Oh, this is such a hipster try hard. I'm like, this video is from like 94. This is where it started and everyone is imitating. Go ahead.
If you read the comments on Mad World,
What's Mad World?
the Tears for Fears song
Okay.
that they redid in Donnie Darko,
Okay.
every few comments will be somebody going, ugh, another wannabe 80s band doing the song from Donnie Darko. Oh, it drives me up a fucking wall.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. We are running out of time. What has been your favorite part of this interview?
Getting to know you.
Oh, you are welcome.